Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button just for you guys today, free only. I promise you, if you hit that subscribe button right now, no charge. Promise. Go ahead, hit that button, I'll wait. See? Free of charge, I told you. All right, all kidding aside. So we are taking a look at today something that I thought is a very special whiskey in the releases that we get nowadays with all of the limited editions and special releases. You know, this is still one of those whiskeys that is somewhat obtainable. So I'm excited to do this review today of the Remus Repeal Batch 5. So this comes in, again, at 100 proof, 50% ABV. Mash bill on this is undisclosed, but it's basically a blend of 5 different whiskeys or mash bills with different ages ranging anywhere from 13 to 16 years. These are mash bills that contain upwards of 21% rye and 36% rye. It is non-age stated. Again, if it was, it would be a minimum age statement of 13 years since it would be the youngest whiskey within this blend. And the MSRP on this is right around that $90. So a fairly, a really nice price point for the ages that are in this blend. To me, it's special from that standpoint. So why don't we go ahead and kind of dive into today's review again of the Remus Repeal Batch 5. So color-wise, as you can see, really, really nice, rich, deep copper type of color on that. Again, move the whiskey around in the glass a little bit. It'd give you a good idea of kind of some of the oils that may be there. Not bad on this one. It's, if you could get these at cask strength, I mean, it would probably be an absolutely incredible whiskey. But again, you'll see today, even at 100 proof, what this really has to offer. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into the nose. Oh man, it's a beautiful nose. I'm gonna summarize like right away. That sweet, rich, like complex oak that's there. Really heavy, dark fruits. More of like the cherry, the strawberry, maybe even like a little bit of like a plum. Creamy vanilla custard. There's even a bit of like a baked apple pie aspect. There's just that like kind of richness that you get from like a caramel apple, a little bit of pastry. So you kind of put it all together and you kind of end up with that caramel apple pie. Yeah, definitely some of those really rich caramels. Caramel apple really kind of starting to come through on that a little bit. Really nice rich leather note. Touch of mint. I think you get some of that with it being basically all MGP. You get sometimes with their high rise, a touch of a mint aspect to those bourbons. Nice cinnamon, nutmeg, more of like a baking spice aspect to it. Definite deep, rich brown sugars. That's definitely present. Maybe even a little bit of like a molasses, like a sweeter molasses. But just that lingering, warm, like fresh caramel note is something that just kind of remains there, but that sweet oak presence as well. Again, those rich, dark fruits. And here's something kind of interesting. There's almost like a milk dud or like a malt ball aspect. There's something, if you had like those milk duds or like a malt ball, there's that aspect to it. There's that sweetness, the kind of pastry, the complexity. It's a very rich and inviting nose. I would say if there's a whiskey that you could recommend to somebody in terms of really trying to turn somebody on to a whiskey, this may be right in that category from what it has to offer. We've only gotten to the nose. Wait until we get to the palate, which we'll get into, I think, right now. So just an incredible nose so far on it. Very pleasant, inviting, everything that you want so far in a great bourbon whiskey. All right, let's get into the taste. Cheers. Incredible. For 100 proof, drinks right about that. So very approachable. Right up front, again, those rich, fresh caramel notes. It's very present in this, and it being kind of very singular. It's a lot of that caramel. Again, maybe like, even like a caramel apple pie, a little bit of pastry that's there. There's even a touch of a dustiness, or with that sweet oak, the complexity of the oak that's there gives you that impression of an aged whiskey. Now there are between 13 and 16-year-old whiskeys in here, so you get that different profile that's there. It is not over oaked by any means, so don't think this is like an oak bomb and it's super dry and just very tannic. It is not that. There's layers of sweetness with that rich sweet oak that's present, nice dark fruits, caramel apple pie, some really nice pastry notes, a little bit of a cinnamon, maybe cinnamon nutmeg, maybe even like a little bit of a sweet pipe tobacco. Yeah, the ages on this really allow it to feel complex. There's this complexity level, really nice layers to this, very enjoyable. Again, touch of mint that's there as well. Nice brown sugars. Again, great spice. Nice lingering rye spice that's there. More of the mint starting to come out a little bit more in that, but definitely consistently all the way through that caramel apple pie. I hate to even say it, but maybe even like a little bit of like a butter pecan, to my buddy Jason over at the Mash and Drum, to steal a line from him, butter pecan. But fantastic, absolutely fantastic bourbon whiskey for sure. Very thick. That's nice, coats the mouth really well. Easy drinking. Not a lot of heat. There's not that major Kentucky hug. It's just very consistent. You know, there's got a little bit of proof that's there. It's not burning like something that would be, 120, 130 proof. Not that at all. Just very consistent, pleasant all the way through. A little bit of corn presence as well. Very creamy, nice creamy mouthfeel. Something that you'd like to see, in a bourbon. You want that feel to be there. You want it to be oily. The oilier it is, the more mouth coating it is, allowing for more of those flavors within the bourbon to kind of develop, coat the entire palate. Really something that you want, and this is doing all of that. Just an incredible bourbon. I would say right now, going forward, for the whiskeys and bourbons that I've had this year, this will definitely factor into, somewhere within my, top 21 whiskeys of the year. So very good bourbon. I think one that's definitely worth that $90 to $100 price point. If you can find a bottle, I would encourage you not only to get a bottle, if you can find a backup bottle, I would do so, because I think you're probably going to get through bottle number one fairly quickly, as easy as this is to drink. So fantastic bourbon. Really nice spice. It's just super well-rounded between the ages that are there. And I think, honestly, the more I kind of sip on this, I think with it proof down to about 100, I think it's maybe taken away a little bit of what some of that bite would be from those 13 to 16-year-old bourbons. Sometimes when you get into those ages, you have a tendency, or they have a tendency, to get a little tannic, a little dry, a little heavy on that dark, or the really heavy leathers. And it can be a little off-putting sometimes. So I think for what they did in proofing this down to 100 may have really done this blend some justice. So again, I can't reiterate enough how good of a bourbon this really is. So I guess if we kind of get into the finish part of it, again, like I've described all the way through, again, that richness that's there. It's one of those very consistent things that all the way through, again, it starts with a great mouthfeel. Great mouthfeel, it's mouth coating, those rich caramels, that sweet oak, the pastry, you know, nice mint, great spice on that. A little bit of that kind of vanilla custard aspect to it. Again, a touch of that dusty aspect to it. If you've had whiskeys that have some age to it, you get a little bit of that profile that's there. So you're definitely picking up some of the aged whiskeys within this blend. So very, very nice. Again, some of that maybe sweet tobacco, more of like a pipe tobacco. And I guess when I say pipe tobacco, it's almost more of like what you smell versus what you taste. You know, when someone's smoking a pipe and it's something sweet, it's more along those lines. So there's definitely some nice layers to this in terms of the oak, the sweetness, the balance of that. Again, the oak, the vanilla custard, that caramel apple pie, a little bit of that butter pecan, you know, aspect to it. So overall, a fantastic, fantastic bourbon. I highly encourage you, if you can find it, you know, don't hesitate to pick up this bottle. I think it is 100% worth the whatever it may be, $100 price point, $90 to $100, $110. If you can find it at retail, don't hesitate. If you can buy two, definitely do it. I think in terms of today's day and age of value, you know, again, I don't want to get into much of the value part of it, but I think for what this has to offer, there's not many of these 13 and 16-year-old bourbons around anymore. So for them to put together a blend like this, you know, kudos to MGP for putting this blend together. So there you have it. Again, fantastic bourbon. Again, if you can find it, this specifically is the Remus Repeal Batch 5. So want to say thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. Greatly appreciate all of the support. And remember, today only, if you hit that subscribe button, free of charge. I promise you, hit the button free of charge, and you'll get tuned into some other, hopefully, good content that you're appreciating. So if you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can through my Patreon page, which I'll have linked below. That also gets you into the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club and all kinds of fun picks that we're doing over there as well. So again, thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. And as always, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers. Go find yourself some Remus Repeal 5. I promise you, you will not regret it. Cheers, guys.